Hey guys, and welcome to a logical look at Wolves 2025-26. Now I should say right up front that when I'm recording this video, this is after Wolves have played 28 league games, so there is a chance that everything in this video could age like fine milk in, well, literally in a couple hours if I get this video out in time. But we're going to go right into it. We're going to give a general breakdown of Wolves' season, why they're in the position they're in, and some of the consequences from it. So the first thing we're going to look at is the summer transfer window. So these are all the signings the Wolves have made, and all fees are fixed payment. It doesn't include the potential add-ons. So we have Jurgen Strand Larsen, who was bought for £23.5 million, Rocadara £22.7 million, Fer Lopez 20, Ladislau Krejci 19.6 million. But I will say that is the loan fee. At the end of this season, I think, if I'm right, they're going to pay an additional 7 million, I want to say. It's either 5 or 7 million at the end of the season, because he's going to sign fully. It's a loan for Manchester to buy. John Arias for 14.8 million, Tchouameni for 10.9 million, and David Muller-Wolf for 10.5 million. And I just wanted to highlight the percentage of Premier League minutes played. So Jurgen Strand Larsen played 71% of the minutes. He was sold in January. And the only reason it's as low as 71 is because before he was sold, he got dropped for a couple games, and I'm pretty sure he had an injury at the start of the season as well. So honestly, that percentage should be a bit higher. Rocadara has played 48.5% of games, but as I've written here, he's played basically every minute since Larsen left, right? Fer Lopez playing a paltry 11%, loaned back out to Vigo, where he was signed from in January. So that transfer's gone absolutely horrible. And I'm fairly sure, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly sure he said he had no interest in playing in the Championship. So the chances are he's either going to get loaned out again in summer or sold. I don't think he's going to be part of a Wolves squad as they go into the Championship. Ladislau Krejci playing 79.5%. He's been the only signing that's been good. I mean, Strand Larsen has been putrid this season, but they did sell him for a profit, as we will get into, so it's not that bad. Krejci's probably been the most consistent performer, though. I say as he got sent off last game, but John Arias played 52%, and he was also sold in January. He had a pretty paltry season as well. Tchouameni playing 59%. Not great, not terrible. He's always been in and out of the squad. I think under Rob Edwards, he's been getting into the side more and more. And Muller-Wolf playing 30.3%. Not fantastic. In total, they spent £122 million, €140 million, $164.8 million. And as I will get into this slideshow, it's not good enough. Listen, on the face of it, this amount of money seems like a lot. I promise you it ain't. This is not a lot of money. This is not a good enough amount of money. So we're going to get into that. So this is the departures. This is who they sold in the summer. And again, these are fixed payments, doesn't include add-ons. So we have Matheus Cunha, £64.8 million. Ryan Aït-Nouri for £32.1 million. Fabio Silva for £19.6 million. Gonzalo Guedes for £3.5 million. And Semedo, Sarabia and Chiquinho all on frees. And they made £120 million, €137.5 million, and $162.1 million. So they have got a negative net spend, but like Barely. They more or less broke even, to be honest. It really wasn't. It's really not enough. It's not enough, right? So let me explain why this is an issue. So this is how the league season ended last year. So Wolves stayed up due to a couple of minor miracles. The 3 relegated teams embarrassed themselves every week. Now you might say that's harsh, but I mean, I'm not being funny. Look at the goals conceded and the goals scored, right? I mean, look. Say what you want to say. Tottenham were the closest being relegated with a -1 goal difference. Wolves -15. Man United -10. West Ham -16. All of these teams, Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, -47, -46, -60. All of these guys have got a worse goal difference than their nearest competitors combined. That's not good. And of course, famously, they went on a 6-game winning streak in the second half of the season. I mean, I can only fit 5 in the screenshot, right? But there were some very impressive wins, right? 3-0 versus Leicester, their relegation rivals, asterisk. Beat Man United at Old Trafford, beat Tottenham, beat Ipswich, beat West Ham. All of those teams are in the screenshot. They beat the teams around them, which, look, I mean, yeah, pudding teams, but look, you have to put some respect on it. Those were very good wins. Those are the games you need to win, right? The teams that are around you. But you might notice in this screenshot the absolutely rancid run of form we had at the back end of the season, right? That's not great. So the second part of this video, I'm going to be talking about the managerial messes and the board incompetence. Now, I've just had to put it very bluntly, the board are morons. I think most Wolves fans will agree with me. So, Vitor Pereira got a new contract on the 15th of September. At that point, they had lost all 4 league games that they played. You can see that here. Lost 4-0 to Man City, fair enough. 1-0 to Bournemouth, not great. 3-2 to Everton, not great. 1-0 to Newcastle, fair enough, right? He got sacked November 2nd, just 45 days after his new contract. There are no definitive... I have no definitive proof of this, okay, so you can ignore this if you want. But from what I know with all my research, I would, if I took a shot in the dark, right, shooting straight from the hip, I think he would have been paid 6 to 12 months of his contract when he was sacked. Could be wrong. Right, again, take it with a pinch of salt, but that's what I would say. But as you see from the transfer history, these lot do not like spending money. So when you have to pay a manager 6 to 12 months of their contract, and your owners are penny pinching, you're going to leave a sour taste in the owner's mouth, right? And at the point he was sacked, Wolves are bottom of the league on just 2 points from 10 matches, as we can see here. Now what's even more impressive is... you might see a lack of Tottenham in this screenshot. They were in the top 10 after 10 games, so, you know, that's pretty impressive, right? So we're going to talk about Rob Edwards' disaster appointment. And again, this might be harsh, but... So, Rob Edwards made his first major stamp in English football. When I say major stamp, I mean Premier League clubs took notice. When he led Luton Town to a shock promotion to the Premier League in the 22-23 season. But when they got into the Premier League, Rob Edwards fell for the trap, and a lot of managers do this. Farker at Norwich, for example. You can come up with a million more. They tried to play some entertaining, you know, gung-ho, naive brand of football, and the result of it was that they were conceding goals for fun. They ended up relegated quite comfortably. The only thing that was making it close was Nottingham Forest getting a points deduction, but it really wasn't close, right? And they conceded 85 goals in 38 games. So Rob Edwards got hired on the 12th of November, and I know I've been harsh here, cry about it. Rob Edwards tried to play his unsustainable football, right? His naive brand of football. He couldn't adapt in a reasonable time, and they lost 7 league matches in a row. You can see they lost to Palace, Villa, fair, Forest, not great. Man United, fair, Arsenal, fair, Brentford, not great. Liverpool, fair. But, I mean, look, they've scored, what, 3 goals in 7 games? 3 goals in 7 games, and they were playing with the likes of Palace, Forest, Brentford, right? Not good. From the January hit, mid stage of the season, they had a little half decent run of form for them anyway, right? Drew to Man United, beat West Ham, very good result. Drew Everton, drew Newcastle. But, I mean, let's just think about what I've said there, right? We're saying fair play to 4 games unbeaten. That's not a good sentence to say in any context, right? That's not good. Rob Edwards has had next to no impact, in my opinion. Even if they hired him at the start of the season, they'd still be plumb last. He's had no effect whatsoever. In the most recent game, they lost 1-0 to Palace, which, to be fair, they probably should have won. Arokadar had missed a penalty. Krejci got himself sent off. So let's have a reality check, okay? This is the bottom 5 teams in terms of Premier League points tallies, okay? So you have the Derby of 07-08, lives in infamy, newly promoted team. Southampton of 24-25, 12 points, newly promoted team. Sunderland 05-06, newly promoted team. Sheffield United 23-24, newly promoted team. And then Huddersfield of 18-19, where they had a very awful case of second season syndrome. Now, you might notice Wolves, they'll beat Derby's record, they should, right? But there's a very good chance they're going to be in the bottom 5 points tallies in Premier League history. This season right now is their 8th season in the Premier League. That's not normal. Like, the only teams I can recall doing something similar were maybe like Leicester, Aston Villa. But Aston Villa were under serious financial strain, right? Aston Villa were struggling for money. They were selling their best players left and right. And Leicester were the same, right? I mean, we know Leicester had to sell for profit because they just got a 6-point deduction for not doing that. So let's look at the January transfer window. They sold Strand Larsen for £43.4 million, John Arias for £21.8 million, and Agbadou for £15.7 million. For about £81 million, €92.7 million, $109.3 million. The only player they brought in was Angel Gomez on loan and Adam Armstrong for like £9 million or something like that. This is the transfer window of a team who knows they're going down and there's no chance of staying up, right? This is worrying. For me, looking into this is not good, because this is genuine. You can prepare your team in advance for championship football, right? I assume that's why they brought in Adam Armstrong, in case Arokadar wanted to leave. Adam Armstrong is a proven championship goal machine, right? Angel Gomez on loan, it's a complete waste of time. I don't know why they've done that, to be honest. Just seems like a waste of money. And Adam Armstrong is just a complete waste of time. You know, you're spending 9 million players on a 28-year-old striker. So they haven't really prepared themselves for the drop. All they've done is cash in, which, if I was to give them the benefit of the doubt, you cash in, you get relegated, you splurge the cash to go back up and buy a squad that could stay in the Premier League potentially in 2 seasons from now. Like, that's the nicest, most charitable way I can look at it. So I go to part 4, and this is something that is under talked about, right? It needs to be spoken about more. It's been completely overlooked. Nobody knows who's playing. As of writing this video, there have been 28 league games, 2,520 minutes total. 75% of that is 1,890. Only 3 players, I'm counting Krejci because he joined a couple games late, so only 3 players have played 75% of minutes. So to put that into perspective, Burnley only has 4, they've stunk. West Ham have 4, they've not been great. Forest and Spurs have 4, but Nottingham Forest have had to balance European football, Spurs have had to balance Champions League football, and have one of the worst injury records in the league, if not the worst injury record in the league. To be honest, I was surprised it's as high as 4 players. And Leeds have 6 players. Now, why is this a problem? It's because if you keep chopping and changing your teams constantly, you're not going to get great synergy typically. Look at Liverpool, right? So in my opinion, there's a direct correlation between how often a team changes their 11 and how much they underperform. Now, let's take Chelsea this season, for example. They've been quite good. Not great, they've been alright. Have a huge squad, and they have a massive amount of injuries. Well, in the Premier League, they've got 7 players who are playing 75% of the minutes. So you can think of examples in your head, right? A starting 11 isn't clear, your regular starters aren't clear. So, off the top of my head, I thought of Graham Potter's spell at Chelsea and Thomas Frank this season, although it's not really his fault, right? Constant injuries, it's not his fault, but the result of a constant rotation, they've underperformed massively. So I'm going to go into a more positive avenue now. Light at the end of the tunnel. So why I think the Championship might not be the end of Wolves. Rob Edwards, I know I just spent about 7 minutes bashing him, but in the Championship, Rob Edwards is a proven high-level manager. If you ignore when Luton got relegated and he was a big part of them getting back-to-back relegation, I'm willing to overlook that. But at worst, Wolves should have the second best team in the Championship. Promotion should not be too hard. Even if they sell Andre Krejci, even if they sell Rokadara, etc., etc., they should be fine. Relegation might give the owners a kick up the rear. Might give them a reality check. When the owners want to, they can persuade big players relative to the size of Wolves to join them. A prime example is famously Ruben Neves deciding to join them from when they were in the Championship. When they got promoted, they signed Rui Patricio and Diogo Jota. So they have the means to sign these big name players relative to Wolves' size if they can just be bothered. I've used some examples here. Leicester, Stoke, Swansea. You could look at the Championship and pick any number of teams, right? It's so easy. If you don't get yourself sorted, it's very easy to fall into obscurity. So the final part is the summary and how I believe Wolves should move forward. Signings to be made in the Championship. Now this is probably the biggest thing, right? If you don't sign well when you get relegated, you won't go back up, okay? You need to sign well. And Wolves in a very unique position where they don't have to worry about money, right? They're not in a Leicester position where they have to worry about a points deduction. I think they can spend well over £100 million if they really want to. So here's some of my suggestions. I'd like to hear yours. Feel free to tell me if I've lost my head here. So Dwight McNeil. Dwight McNeil, I think we can all agree, way too good for the Championship. But Wolves need better wide players, and he's been relegated to bench warming at Everton. He's fallen out of favour, he's not going to get into the team. Moyes has been prioritising some of the younger players over him. I don't think he would be expensive. He's not on that much a week, I don't think. So if you can persuade him, that would be a hell of a signing. Gustavo Hamer, definitely the definition of a quick fix. He's not going to be there long term, but in my opinion, he's one of the best midfielders in the Championship. If they have to sell Gomez, if they have to sell Andre, you're going to need someone to fill that midfield gap, and Gustavo Hamer can do that. He can play a multitude of positions. He's a great Championship player. He won't be that expensive at all. Yanis Begraoui. So this is a very out of left field shout here, okay? So Begraoui this season has sort of exploded. He's got 17 goals and 2 assists in Liga Portugal for Estoril, and he's only 24. So you could easily sign him, sell him for a profit, right? You're not going to pay that much for him at all. Yeah, he's just been fantastic in the Portuguese league. Now, he is more of a Hwang Hee-chan than a Rokadara, right? He's not a big man, he's not going to win many duels, but he's got all the other attributes. He can play out wide if needs be, he can play behind the striker, so like a second striker, and if there's one thing I've learned from the Portuguese league, is that the Portuguese league players, they're not afraid to go to a low level. I don't think it'd take him much to convince him to lead. And then the last suggestion I came up with was Ao Tanaka. Now, same basic logic as the Gustavo Hama. I think that this Wolves board would cash in on Andre and or Gomez, and they will need players to fill in that gap. Ao Tanaka is younger than Hama. Whether or not he's better is up for debate. I think most Leeds fans would say yes, though obviously, right? And Tanaka has fallen out of favour at Leeds, right? He's been dropped, he's not played. So I don't even think this would be an expensive deal either. I think it'd be a cheap deal and an easy one to get over the line. And again, when you get relegated for the Championship, obviously your only goal should be going back up again. So signing the best players in the Championship is, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? So my final thoughts. Wolves in a very unique scenario. Their squad isn't actually too far off the teams fighting relegation, right? Yes, the points tally is miserable, of course, right, we know that. But pound for pound, man for man, I mean, can I really say with a straight face that Wolves squad is like a third of the quality of West Ham, of the Leeds? No. And they also have a wad of cash that they can splurge. And a lot of valuable players, like Krejci, like Andre, like Gomez. If they have the players and the resources almost all Championship clubs can only dream of, as well as very loyal fans. I looked at the attendance just out of pure curiosity, and their attendance, it's not changed since the Championship Day. I think like their attendance has grown by like 1,000 or 2,000, but like that's it. And even in this miserable season, its average attendance only dropped by like 1,000, right? It's not like, it's really quite good actually. But I think the future of Wolverhampton Wanderers, I mean, it solely depends on the owners, right? But I think they'll be fine. I think it would be disastrous and quite embarrassing if they failed to get promoted immediately. But Bournemouth had the same thing, right? They got relegated, failed to go up immediately, but they went up in their second season and they're on the up and up when they're not selling their best players. But what are your thoughts on this? Am I chatting out my rear end? Am I onto something? Have I mentioned something that hasn't crossed your mind yet? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please do consider liking and subscribing. It helped me out massively. And I know I've been dormant for a while. I had a second channel that I was dedicated to, but I'm dedicating my time to this one. I'm going to try and do one of these videos every week. So I could do West Ham, Burnley, Leicester, even, you know, Liverpool, or if they bottle Arsenal, right? Or I could even do a positive one, like Man United, Leeds, Sunderland. Let me guys know what you'd want to see in the comments below. And that'll be all from me, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.